the administrative state and the popular election of the Senate. Terrible.
And you also said he also started a government school system that morons and imbeciles call a public school system.
Correct.
And you have here,
dare call them government schools as opposed to public schools.
Yeah.
And those educationists will jump down your throat.
Yeah, educationists, little low lives that suck into the system.
I gave a talk at the local public high school here to their advanced placement seniors. And I said, you guys can ask me anything you want. And one very intelligent kid who's now at Yale said, hey, Judge, what's wrong with the public school system? So here I am in a public school explaining what's wrong with a public school system. And I told him, when I went up and I hugged him afterwards, I said, thank you for that question. I know you thought you were being a wise guy, but it's a great question. I'll tell you what's wrong with it. No competition, guaranteed clients, you, guaranteed income, your parents' taxes, equals failure. That's what's wrong with it.
Yeah, again,
indoctrination into you shall obey authority. That's what's wrong with it.
Boy, that's right, boy. You should obey. And we're still in kindergarten. And I mean, it's all it is. And we have our teachers are the politicians and the principals, and it's the same system. We haven't left it.
Right.
That's what they call a government system.
It's just bigger, fatter, costs more money, and it's a head scratcher. It's accepted by the people.
Yep.
Because half the people are paying into it and the other half the people are receiving from it. And the ones that receive from it are dependent on government and will always vote for the politicians. Jefferson warned us about this, who will promise to bring home the bigger piece of the pie.
There you go. You know, talking about politicians, today, of course, is, as I mentioned, November 23rd. Yesterday was the 22nd, November 22nd, 2022. And 59 years ago, as of yesterday, was the assassination of
JFK.
JFK. Every year I mention, there's not one word in the mainstream media on that day about the assassination. There wasn't one story in the New York Times, nothing in the Wall Street Journal, nothing on Drudge, nothing on Yahoo, nothing on CNN, nothing. Not one word about the assassination. To me, this is a day that lives in infamy, and the day America died. This was a guy that ended the Cuban Missile Crisis. Okay, we'll pull the missiles out of Turkey. You pull them out of Cuba. This is a guy that didn't want to go in and bomb the hell out of Cuba when Castro overthrew the government, Batista, that the army wanted him to. The generals wanted to nuke the place. This is the guy that didn't want to go into Vietnam and had an executive order, I believe, to pull out the American intelligence forces that were there. And then after he's assassinated, 8 months later, we're at war in Vietnam. Not one word in the media. To me, when Kennedy was killed, this was the death of America.
Because it was an American coup staged for the benefit of Lyndon Johnson and the military-industrial complex and the deep state, staged by the deep state. They found this patsy, Lee Harvey Oswald, and of course others were involved as well. If you read our colleague in the libertarian movement, Jake Hornberger's unbelievable pieces about the two autopsies, demonstrating conclusively that JFK's brains were blown out from the front, not from the back. Therefore, somebody else shot him besides Lee Harvey Oswald. It's pretty much a given these days that the intelligence community was behind it. And if you read Roger Stone's great book, that LBJ knew exactly what was happening and participated in the orders for the double autopsy afterwards, conducted by the military rather than by the doctors in Dallas, pursuant to Texas law. This was an American coup, and I agree with you. He was about to, you quote his brother Robert, suffered a similar fate, smash the CIA into 1,000 pieces. And when that quote got out there, that was more than they could tolerate, and they set about a means to destroy him. By today's standards, JFK was a libertarian.
Yeah.
By today's standards, JFK wasn't, like you and me and Lou Rockwell and our friends, anti-war and anti the involvement of big government in everybody's lives. And this was too much for the deep state to tolerate. Trump told me he would release all the JFK records before he left office. We had a conversation right around the time he pardoned Roger Stone. So now it's about Christmas time of his last year in office, where he admitted to his friends that he lost, but he was still saying publicly that the election was stolen. And I said, aren't you going to release those records? You only have a month to go. And he said to me, Judge, if you saw what I saw, you would know why I can't release them. What are you talking about? It's like, wow. I can't tell you on the phone. The next time I see him in person, I'll tell you. I haven't seen him in person since then. Well, what the hell could he have seen? Whatever it was proof of more people involved than Lee Harvey Oswald, people in the government. And he didn't want to reveal it, even though many of those people are themselves now dead.
Yeah, that's terrible that he didn't do it.
It is terrible. It is terrible.
I mean, who the hell is he to say what I should know? Who the hell is he to say what I should know? And it goes right back to what you wrote about your whole article, about how these low-life, arrogant people are our leaders. They tell us what to do. They tell us what we should know. They are better than us. Oh, right.
And in their own minds, yes.
Yeah. And the other thing,
I guess I should have dealt with him a little harshly, but he was the president. He was calling me from the Oval Office. Why should you see something that the rest of us can't?
That's the bullshit. The president. Oh, the president doesn't piss or shit either. No. It goes right back to what you wrote, what this guy Morgan wrote. What if most members of Congress from both political parties believe in perpetual war and perpetual debt? No, not that part. Where is that piece? About what you wrote about how the king, how we're supposed
to...
More
at the very beginning, at the very top of the article.
Yeah.
Make believe the king is divine, make believe he can do no wrong.
That's it. The same thing with the president.
Yes.
I'm the president. Fuck you. Who the hell are you? I'm better than you. I'm the president.
I think they scared him or threatened him. I don't know. I don't know what he saw. He was determined to reveal it, and then he saw something. He goes, I can't reveal it. I don't know what he saw.
No, the Kennedy assassination, this should be the major issue of this country. America died when they killed Kennedy.
Yes.
They brought us into the Vietnam War. Guns and butter to cover up all the money that was being spent and the people that were being killed. And they changed the immigration laws under Johnson too, to bring in more cheap labor. You remember when our relative from Italy couldn't come to America? There were limits on who could come. I remember, like they say, your cousin Constantino can't come because blah 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 blah. There were very strict regulations on how many people could come into this country.
Right.
Lyndon Johnson changed that. Another low-life piece of crap.
Yes. Yes.
No, when they killed Kennedy, to me, this should be a major issue of this country. And that why Trump didn't release this is disgusting. And that why we, the people of the United States, are not allowed to know what happened. And we go attack other countries to bring them freedom and democracy. What a joke.
Terrible. Our attacks do nothing but spread killing and death and misery. They don't spread liberty. You don't spread liberty. You don't spread liberty at the point of a gun. Come on. But that's one of the myths. Go back to Edmund Morgan. One of the myths the American government foists on people that we accept, that all of our wars are for liberty. Baloney. Our wars are to enhance the military-industrial complex and the power of the government. War suppresses civil liberty. We went through this with Phil Giraldi and you and Scott Ritter at that rally you held in July, right next to where you are now. All the evils that war brings about. You're not going to learn. We'll go back to where we were before. You're not going to learn that in the public schools.
No. Again, this is so important what you've written here about how we've lost our freedoms in so many different ways. And if the people don't stand up and do something, it's only going to get much, much worse.
Correct.
And again, talking about the school system, I was thinking I should change the name of the magazine from the Trends Journal to be popular today. I'll call it the Trans Journal.
You get a lot of our lefty friends subscribing to it.
Yeah.
Judge, which we call a rose, would by any other name smell as sweet.
Judge, thanks a lot for being on. Happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you next week.
And right back at you, to you and your family, Gerald. All the best.
All the best.